organization admitting that there is a problem going on right now. The second thing is that you are providing all the resources in the world as far as for him to go out and get that treatment that he certainly needs. And I think, Malika, certainly the third thing is that you want him around your team. You want him at shoot-arounds. You want him at meetings. You want him in there to get treatment. You want him to feel part of this team. You're not just going to send him home and have Ben Simmons call you when he's ready to come back on the court. You need to have him stay involved. But as I said, this is a mental health issue right now, and there is a lot of sensitivity to this.
Thank you so much for that perspective, Bobby, especially because you have been in these front offices. I really appreciate it. So we're going to get into more about the Sixers on the court because they are playing tonight against the Nets. So we're going to break that matchup down. But before we do that, you guys, we got to talk about Steph Curry with our panel. I have Richard Jefferson, Zach Lowe, Chiney Agumake, and Steph Curry. He was hotter than Howlin' Ray's chicken sandwiches.
Oh, whoa!
I mean, he was spicy last night. He was spicy last night.
See, Perk, we thinking about you.
A little bit of sauce.
Love it.
Let's roll the highlights.
Gosh, that man was on fire last night.
I'm here for the Meg Thee Stallion Popeye sauce, though.
It was a night for him. He had 45 points on 16 of 25 shooting. So Steph Curry and the Warriors, they're hosting the Clippers. Look at this. Steph Curry,
Buffet?
3 from the wing, and he is just getting started. This is early in the first, under 4 minutes. Handling it.
As a push-off.
It's the 3. Andre Iguodala
stop.
swings to Curry, hits again from deep. Guys, he had 25 points in the first quarter.
My goodness.
It's the most makes without a miss in any quarter of his career. He says, bring it. So fourth quarter, the Warriors are down 2. Curry takes a pass.
Oh, yeah.
Rains that long distance range. Look at this. Watch this again, guys.
He didn't even raise his hand.
Look at Jordan Poole's reaction, though. He's all of us. Check out the Warriors highlight call from the radio.
Now bounce pass out to Curry. A deep 3. Got it. Oh, my goodness. About a step and a half from midcourt.
So Curry wasn't done. 1 minute to go. Warriors down 1. Curry gets it.
2 people.
Yeah, but let's also shout out the Clippers.
But that's his 8th 3, guys. So the Warriors are up 2, but there's still some time for Paul George and the Clippers. Less than 10 seconds. Clippers down 4. Paul George, money.
Let's
love
go.
this back
Money.
and forth.
Down by 1. So the Clippers, they immediately foul here. Listen to what Paul George says.
Moving on from last game, law of averages, keep your confidence, and once you saw the first couple go in, it's just staying aggressive. Same thing I try to do all the time.
Steph Curry was just Steph Curry. You know, there's never been anybody like him. Those last 2 threes were ridiculous.
With Steph coming off a game like he came off of Tuesday, you got to know he's coming out firing. Definitely impressed, but not surprised at all. It was incredible to see. And obviously, enjoy playing with the guy because he's incredible. Some of them, like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? And the majority of them, that's money. Even on some of the ones, I'm like, what the hell? Still kind of thinking it's money. It's just like, why in the hell you just shoot that shot? But I expect all of them to go in, regardless of how ridiculous some of them are that he decides to take. Still expect him to go in because he makes those ridiculous-ass shots, and that's what he's done over the course of his career.
What a night for Steph with 45 points on 16 for 25 shooting while making 8 of his 13 threes. This was Curry's 40th career game with 40 points and 8 made threes. Nobody else in the NBA even has half as many.
40 games with 8 made threes and 40 points?
That's nuts. And I love, we didn't get to hear it, but I love Paul George. There was some like, smack talk back and forth.
Yeah.
I love this game, man. So Richard, the Warriors have wins over the Lakers and the Clippers, so they've conquered LA early in the season to start out. Folks are sleeping on this team, so we know, Zach, how long do you think that they can keep doing that?
I mean, sleeping on them? Nobody should be sleeping on them. The Warriors
You
have
weren't?
announced. No, I was not. I've
You
been
were
high.
not.
I was
You were
high on the
not.
Warriors since preseason. None of this surprises me. They have an identity, and they have a whole roster of players now that fits their identity. They know how to play. They were +4 last night when Curry was on the bench. They were plus a lot with him on the bench in the first game against the Lakers. Look, it's 2 wins against the 2 LA teams. They're nice wins. It doesn't really mean all that much, but they look like a team that knows who they are. And I will say this. We saw all the threes. the great pleasure of watching the Warriors is just watching Steph run around and set screens and all the shots he gets for his teammates. Wiggins had a corner three in transition where all Steph did was run vaguely toward the basket. Everybody chased after him, and Andrew was like, oh, no one's on me. Three.
Let's talk about that. We always, when you have a great shooter, we follow the shot, but we don't talk enough about how he moves, how that dictates those shots. He has an elite skill set, even dribbling the ball. He has an elite skill set shooting the ball, but when he's moving off the ball, it takes an elite level of conditioning. And I think that's what people are starting to say. I think Paul George mentioned this after the game. You turn for help defense, and he is gone. That bends the defense, and he's able to pick and choose his moments. That's a spot for Steph. He knows that wing right three, corners he loves, and also in transition. The way I like the way you move. The way he moves is the reason why he's able to be an elite shooter.
No, it's ridiculous, but the last thing I'll say about that is the additions that they have on the team. I really believe adding Otto Porter, Jordan Poole growing. These guys, one more year of experience playing with Steph and understanding what they do. And no Wiseman. We saw how they started taking off with no Wiseman last year. Once he gets back, hopefully they can incorporate him.
So speaking of last year, Steph Curry led the league in shooting. He dropped 45 last night. He's 33, Richard. What's the key for him to keeping this up?
Well, I think just having more teammates around him that understand. There was a very, very young team. And that Warrior offense, how to cut, how to move, how to understand. That's one of the things that I think Kelly Oubre struggled with last year and why he couldn't get a rhythm. But I think now Draymond there and all the guys that they brought in that understand, having Andre Iguodala back, knowing where he can find the spots is so impressive.
You know what's interesting? If you notice the back-to-back opening games for Steph Curry, he had 10 rebounds in both games. I think the Warriors have finally realized they've maximized on Draymond Green. He's done a lot. For like 6'5", 6'6", to hold it down in the paint, he's done a lot. What I love is that they've realized without Klay, it's got to be team defense. And him getting those rebounds, the young guys being aggressive on both ends, pushing the pace, that's why they're successful.
And to your point, RJ, there was a play last night when Otto Porter posted up and found Jordan Poole back cutting for a layup. And it was like, wait a second. Otto Porter's playing the part of Draymond Green. Jordan Poole's playing the part of Steph Curry. I think this is going to be it right here. We've seen this a million times. That's Draymond and Steph. To your point about guys playing the Warrior style and them having... And can we just talk for 1 second? A name we haven't mentioned yet. How freaking good does Andre Iguodala look?
Yes.
Did he get in the fountain of youth in the summer? He looks incredible.
Comfort zone.
I mean, he's back at home. And you mentioned this. We were talking at the Lakers game against the Warriors the other day about how it looked like they found their groove maybe at the end of last season and they're carrying it into this year.
That's why I was high on him. I felt like in the last 25 games of last season when Wiseman was injured, they said, look, we can't do the development and the winning at the same time. We're just going to try to win. We're going to play all the guys we know that fit the style we play. Juan Toscano Anderson, you know how to pass and cut and move and shoot. You're playing more minutes. Draymond, you're playing more at center. And all of a sudden, they started ripping off wins and blowing teams out when they had Steph and Draymond on the floor at least. And there's value to being a team that because you have a player like nobody else, plays a style like nobody else. It's hard to play against the Warriors.
And there's value to a team, and Richard, you could attest to this. When you have a limited amount of great vets that can teach you a system, and then young players that are eager for opportunity, you combine that too, that's really great.
No, it's special because you know the rhythm. When Andre Iguodala looks better because he's been in that system, he knows the guys. He knows the cuts before the cuts. He can see the plays. That's what Draymond, when Draymond and Steph are playing together, it's so impressive. But what I really do like is the growth of the young guys. The young guys are going to be so Toscano Anderson. You're going to have, then you have Jordan Poole. You got all of these guys that have now been there and they know what's expected. They know when Steph gets moving, you